Of sequestration.
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 Wiregrass businesses are preparing now for possible Army cuts next year.
We began this afternoon with talk of sequestration at Fort Rucker.
Well, sequestration, it's something we've been talking about for the past 3 years. It's mandated budget cuts passed as part of the Budget Control Act of 2011. And
in tonight's top story, a move in Washington could cost Fort Rucker and this area several thousand jobs.
Houston County Commission Chairman Mark Culver and Dothan Mayor Mike Schmitz are here to talk about the impact sequestration could really have on this area. Retired Brigadier General Rod Wolf and Enterprise Mayor Kenneth Boswell are here to tell us about an important meeting everyone should really be at this coming up Monday.
Absolutely.
News 4's Bridget Spencer joins us live from Daleville to begin our team coverage.
News 4's Amanda Dansby continues our team coverage. News 4's Mike Gerspan caught up with Senator Shelby in Midland City this morning. He's in our Enterprise State Community College newsroom.
Sequestration means cuts, and that could have a huge effect on not only Fort Rucker, but the Wiregrass as a whole.
Businesses are only half of who would be affected by a possible sequestration.
For Ozark Mayor Billy Blackwell, along with other municipal leaders across Dow County, the number one question for them is sequestration and how that might affect Fort Rucker.
Let's talk about what these budget cuts could do to Fort Rucker.
Well, let me, if you don't mind, Kenneth.
Please.
Let me hit two aspects of it.
Okay.
With a 40% cut estimated at the high end of potential that could happen, what that would do is cut our training of our IERW, which is the initial entry rotary wing students, from about 900 down to just under 600. This
was in the news back in 2013. We were facing this. How did Fort Rucker get spared?
Well, back then they kicked the can down the road, if you will. Everything got spared, but now we're at the drop dead date, if you will. Yeah, government tends to, you know how we do. We go from one crisis to another, particularly at the federal level, and they're just to the point now that this is going to happen October 1st, unless Congress or the federal government does something different between now and then.
With a public forum coming up Monday, politicians have been telling the public that they will fight to keep Fort Rucker thriving for the surrounding community. News 4's Bridget Spencer joins us live with details on how one Alabama representative says she will try to tackle the issue. Bridget?
Well, Natasha, Martha Roby says these cuts will hurt the economy. Yes, that's true, but more importantly, they're hurting the military as a whole. U.S. Representative Martha Roby is preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best. With the threat of military cuts looming, some workers on Fort Rucker could be losing their jobs as soon as October.
There's all different types of scenarios. I think we need to prepare for the worst, but at the same time know that there are differing degrees of what this could look like.
Local officials speak on why Fort Rucker should be spared in military cuts. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Reginald Jones.
And I'm Natasha Chugtai. Thanks for joining us for News 4 at 5. Residents and business leaders from across the Wiregrass are continuing to arrive on Fort Rucker for tonight's public forum.
News 4's Matthew McClellan is at Fort Rucker. He joins us now with what went on in that meeting. Matt?
Reg, Natasha, I am joined by Enterprise Mayor Kenneth Boswell, and you spent a lot of your day talking with representatives from the Department of Defense, and I understand that originally you didn't think they were going to be asking you a lot of questions, but they did, right?
They did. We had a very good interaction with the panel.
News 4's Devin Sellers is standing by with Alabama's 2nd District U.S. Representative Martha Roby. She continues our team coverage. Devin?
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, this really all goes back to the Budget Control Act of 2011. We've heard about sequestration in 2013. Now it's up again. And like you said, it's up to Congress to actually do something about this. They're going to be the final say. And I do have Representative Martha Roby here. And what type of emotions do you expect to hear from people tonight? And do you think it will be enough for Congress to do something?
Well, I think what's important about tonight is that the Army is here to listen to these communities that will be so heavily impacted by these devastating military cuts if they do go into effect.
A forum regarding the future of Fort Rucker is just beginning. Good evening, I'm Natasha Chugtai.
I'm Reginald Jones. Thank you for joining us for News 4 at 6.
News 4's Devin Sellers joins us live. And Devin, we understand it's a full house on post tonight.
It is a full house, guys. It was full at about 5:30 this evening, and the landing, which was supposed to handle all of the overflow crowd, is almost full as well. So you can tell there is just a huge turnout from the Wiregrass, and we really expected nothing less from them.
News 4's Mike Gerspan joins us live from our Enterprise State Community College newsroom with more on this. Mike?
Well, Rich, today the Coffee County Commission unanimously approved a resolution opposing sequestration. Now, the board feels Fort Rucker remains the economic backbone to this region of the state. Coffee County Commission Chairman Dean Smith read the resolution supporting Fort Rucker. If the home to Army aviation was to close, it would immediately cut some 3,000 military and civilian positions. In addition, the base is integral in spin-off defense industry jobs across the Wiregrass.
And whereas such loss of funding could potentially result in the loss of 1,774 permanent soldiers and 736 civilian positions. And whereas such a loss would impair America's military readiness and severely impact Coffee County environmentally and socioeconomically.
Over 1,500 people attend a forum that could determine the future of Fort Rucker.
Natasha, more than 800 people filled seats in this theater. Another 800 packed the landing for overflow seating. So just the number of people who were here really goes to show how much Fort Rucker means to this community. And like the sticker I have says, for many people, Fort Rucker is the heartbeat of the Wiregrass. As Army representatives take their stories to Washington, thousands in the Wiregrass are hoping Congress does get what's at stake at Fort Rucker. Now, I should point out that no decisions, were reached tonight. Now, Devin, city officials from several cities in our area have been talking to a panel today from the Pentagon. I know we weren't able to be there, but you talked to these city officials. How did they say it went?
Well, they say it went really well. We will, of course, have to take their word for it since it was not open to the public or even the media today. But we were able to catch up with each of those mayors in attendance after the meeting today and to see how it all went.
The Army had to have something to work with to start formulating how they would deal with any level of cuts. So there's no real cuts yet identified, but it is very good for us to get ahead of it, to start talking about how it would impact us and let that story be told to the Army.
A story these leaders were eager to tell. All right, now Brigadier General Roger Cloutier says there are 12 more installations to visit. There's a total of 30, and they're going to combine all of these studies and these listening sessions into one final report to give to Congress, who will ultimately decide what happens with the Budget Control Act, whether it's repealed or revised. They expect a decision sometime late spring or early summer.
More than 1,600 people filled seats at Fort Rucker last night to make a case against proposed cuts to the military. News 4's Matthew McCullum caught up with some of them.
He's back in our newsroom now with an update. And Matt, this is something people are clearly passionate about.
It is, Natasha, and with good reason. Fort Rucker is the livelihood of thousands of people in the area. With as many as 15,000 Wiregrass jobs at stake, workers on post and off are appealing to keep personnel numbers at their current level.
If sequestration occurs at Fort Rucker, educators in one Wiregrass school district describe it as total devastation. Enterprise City School System has nearly 7,000 students. 60% of them have at least one parent active military or works on the base as a civilian.
News 4's Mike Gerspan joins us at our Enterprise State Community College newsroom. And Mike, I understand an analysis of sequestration means dozens of teachers cut and tens of millions of dollars gone.
Well, indeed, you're right, Natasha. In fact, Enterprise Superintendent Dr. Camille Wright and school board members were overwhelmed and grateful for the support Enterprise residents showed during Monday night's public listening session at Fort Rucker. Now, they believe the City of Progress may have the most to lose if sequestration does occur.